This video response has been a long time coming, and others have already shown this creationist for what he truly is. But I would like to respond and point out to everyone just how dishonest, hateful, and morally challenged this creationist is, far beyond anything that anyone else has pointed out to date. It should also be noted that there are an interesting variety of comments made by the creationist on the video that this is a response to. How you will view this depends on your own opinions of the creationist's actions in this matter, but his arrogance and dishonesty are clear for all to see. And now the video itself.
They are students.
The individual I debated never identified himself as a group.
The creationist has demonstrated that he does not know how to conduct research. He has of course done this on many occasions, putting his claims that he has conducted 2 years of research firmly into outright lie territory. But again, this is the perfect example of his laziness in this regard. Then again, if he were not lazy about researching, he would have come up with better arguments against his critics. In any case, as you can see from the screen capture I did of the extant Dullard's profile page, they have clearly identified themselves as students in the plural form. This can be easily verified by anyone seeking out their profile page, and was easy for me to access within a mere 5 to 10 seconds. One has to wonder why the creationist simply did not bother to do this for himself.
They have college degrees.
I never said the individual I debated didn't.
This is the creationist's own slide. You can all clearly see point number 2. I trust this is clear evidence that the creationist has just lied. His initial claim was also false. A check of the extant Dullard's profile page would have verified this.
That's wrong.
It's correct. There is a copious amount of evidence that refutes the idea the Earth is billions of years old.
Where is this evidence then? You see, the creationist, like all of his fellows, asserts the existence of said evidence without actually providing even a shred of it. As Iron Charioteer pointed out when he made his response to the creationist attack against myself, this is what's become known as the 26th logical fallacy, the unelaborated declaration of contrary evidence. Sane people are not fooled. Meanwhile, back in the real world, evidence exists for the separate fields of biology, cosmology, geology, physics, chemistry, and many others. All of these fields attest to the age of the Earth and the universe, as well as the vast biodiversity of life and how this is explained. Evidence is daily being collected supporting the origins of life on Earth as well. The only reason why these are not acceptable to the creationist is very simple: denial.
No, they're not insane.
Who said he was insane?
Believing that UFOs come from Satan is insanity.
But if you believe UFOs and you don't believe they're from Satan, there's only one option in there, that they're beings from another world, right?
Wrong. There is not only one option. I'll come on to the subject of false dichotomies a little later. Suffice to say that this does not take into account the possibility that these unidentified flying objects are really man-made objects that simply have not been identified by the general population or any publicly accountable official source below certain intelligence classifications. This is to say that the creationist, and indeed practically all of us who use YouTube, will not have access to information that would identify these craft. This of course is speculative, but is far more plausible than simply saying UFOs either come from space or from Satan, of all the ridiculous things to believe.
Because obviously man doesn't have the technology to make such things.
Unfortunately, this statement is also incorrect. Research facilities in various technologically advanced nations, such as the one that this very creationist hails from, have long had the technology to build and maintain vertical lift aircraft. Such technology is being miniaturized weekly as more technological breakthroughs are made, and it is more than possible to build an aircraft that is capable of powered flight that looks suspiciously like a flying saucer. This has been possible for decades. The technology needed to build high-velocity propulsion systems is also available today, which when combined with remote flight systems allows for the construction of a UFO-like craft that far outstrips the capabilities of any manned aircraft simply because human endurance has limits. The creationist is ignorant of these facts.
And they attack creationists who think they know science better than real scientists do.
There's more than one reason they attack creationists, people like him, and yourself.
Creationists telling us how we think? How novel.
Largely because they're completely ignorant of the plethora of evidence that diffuses their worldview. So,
science does not have a worldview. As stated in my debunking of this creationist's video, it is well known that creationists like to pretend that science does have a worldview. The statement that there is copious amounts of evidence that diffuses the evolutionist worldview is simply incorrect, and again is unelaborated, with said evidence not being provided.
Since they don't understand the science behind their own assertions.
Scientists do understand the science behind their own assertions. After all, they came up with them. The creationists' continued arrogance in telling scientists who have dedicated their lives to furthering human knowledge that they are wrong when he doesn't even have a basic high school understanding of the sciences he attacks is absurd and ethically vacuous.
They attack those that seem to explain the natural world properly.
Stating that Magic Man done it is not a valid scientific explanation for anything whatsoever, and anyone pretending otherwise is frankly insane.
However, it is true that many creationists who are not scientists do know science better in some ways than evolutionist scientists.
This statement is completely incorrect. Creationists simply like to believe they know better, yet when their knowledge of the basics of science is tested, they fail dismally to even achieve the requisite understanding of what is known to real scientists. This creationist in particular has demonstrated this fact time and again over the course of the last year. For someone who claims to have studied both sides of the issue over the course of 2 years, and to have conducted research in that time frame, this creationist fails practically every aspect of high school science that proves his assertions wrong. High school sciences that I passed easily when I attended in my youth.
So who is NephilimFree? It's an American reality denialist, aka young earth creationist.
Evolutionists continuously put forth this jargon that creationists are in denial. The opposite is the truth.
The opposite, in fact, is false. Simple evidentiary findings confirm this time and again, and any high school textbook will confirm this observation. College level and PhD study level continue to provide confirmation that the creationists of the world are incorrect and dishonest in their claims. Radiometric dating alone completely destroys the claim that the Earth is only 6,000 years old, and to all of those creationists out there claiming that radiometric dating is based on circular reasoning and or assumptions, such a claim is absurd. Radioactive isotopes used to measure radiometric dating have been observed every single time to decay in a fashion that obeys a precise mathematical law, and as such, they are a reliable indicator for determining the age of the Earth. See the radiometric dating videos listed here for more information.
This is evidenced by the fact that evolutionism is outside the scientific method. An example of that is that they claim morphological transition is responsible for all the phylum, genus, family, and species of creatures in this world.
Morphological transitions are not the sole evolutionary process. They are a result of evolutionary processes. For those of you who do not yet understand what evolution actually is, it is the change in the frequency of alleles in a population from one generation to the next. To put it in layman's terms, evolution tells us how life adapts to its environment. The mechanism by which this is achieved is at a genetic level. Macroscopic changes to creatures undergoing evolutionary change result in the vast biodiversity of life on this planet, but stating that
morphological transition
is responsible for the phylogenus etc. of life on this planet is simply to create a straw man of the theory. Then again, the creationist making this statement is also responsible for claiming that evolution is the result of random chance, that evolution is responsible for explaining elements of cosmology and geology, and that evolution tells us how the universe began. Evolution deals with life that's already here, and nothing else.
But we've never observed any transitions take place. That means it's outside the scientific method's requirement of observation and repeatable demonstration, which of course makes it non-science.
This is a lie. Transitional species have been observed in the fossil record. Transitional species exist today, and to correct a common creationist fallacy, transitional species does not mean an organism is incomplete and partially formed. You look different to other members of your family, such as your siblings and your parents. Any offspring you have will also look different to you. This difference is highlighted further the more you go away from your own immediate family tree until the difference is more pronounced between yourself and a complete stranger. This is evidence for the vast diversity in the genome of every living organism on the planet, and is a simple observation that any human being with eyes to see with can make. Creationists claiming that this is not observed once they are shown this evidence will simply move the goalposts.
Believes in UFOs and Satan despite a distinct lack of any evidence whatsoever.
Isn't that the most ridiculous statement you've heard in a while?
Interesting video, but it is a fake. I'll come back to this shortly.
Thousands upon thousands of witnesses.
Witnesses are notoriously unreliable compared to direct evidence and experimentation.
Historical records.
These historical records are themselves based upon speculation taken from eyewitness accounts. As stated previously, they are thus unreliable.
And of course, machines that change shape before your very eyes and then take off at 5,000 miles per hour.
Machines changing shape before your very eyes and moving away at 5,000 miles per hour? Again, the creationist does not provide any evidence of this. Unless evidence is provided, it is merely speculation.